I'm happy to be here. My name is Donnell Blubaugh, and I'm Director of Education at PBS. So what I'm going to do is a bit of a departure from what I imagine you've been doing all day. And I hope that you'll find my little tour both entertaining, because I'm going to show you the cradle to grave scope of PBS's education content. As you probably know, science has always been a core content area for us, and we love that. We love that we're able to serve as a source for information about science topics to the public. So I'll just get started by giving away a fabulous door prize. Who can tell me what the #1 kids show on any network is right now?
Still Sesame
Barney.
Street. Hannah Montana.
No, it's Curious George on PBS.
Curious George.
All right, I'll give you another one. Curious George is for some of our youngest viewers, and it's illustrates very simple machines. George will discover something, hijinks ensue. I'm going to show you a little bit of that later. All right, who is the host of Nova Science Now?
Tyson.
The answer was on your poster. All right, so I'm gonna sit here and drive and show you some of these things. I was happy to find that slideshow of spring flora and fauna as you were coming in on the nature site, and so you can see what you're missing today. So we're going to start out with the little ones, and Curious George. Actually, this was not where I wanted to go. Sorry, I want to go to Curious George. I sometimes have trouble navigating the PBS Kids site because there's very little print on it, for good reason, because our intended audience mostly can't read yet. But I need print to tell me what to do. So this is our PBS Kids site. We just launched recently this player. I'm going to turn up the sound. All the kids' sites are pretty noisy. Make sure I go the right direction.
Curious George!
All right, can you hear it?
Yeah.
All right. Prepare to be amused.
Curious George!
All right, George.
Soup! Curious.
Here we go.
Shoot the bug bee.
Yeah. Here we go. We're playing now, right? Now, I sat here this afternoon and everything played beautifully. Beautifully.
That's curious.
It is. All right.
Maybe you have to think like a 3-year-old.
Well, I was doing that earlier. And, all right. We'll be moving on from Curious George to once you've graduated from Curious George, you get to go to Dinosaur Train. Dinosaur Train is ingenious, because what do preschoolers like better than monkeys?
Dinosaur.
Dinosaurs and trains. And you put the two of them together, and you're teaching kids about the long, long ago. They travel through the past on a train, and learn Oh, come on, don't do this to me.
Can you reload?
Oh, yeah, let me try that, thank you.
Dinosaur train.
Right. This is very strange.
Well, it's Windows, maybe you have to reboot.
Thank you for your patience. Really, I've been sitting here for hours playing this stuff. All right. Try refresh one more time.
Super wide. Click. Dinosaur train.
Of course, the audio works.
Well, it says now playing.
It lies. Okay, I'm going to work backwards. All right. This is a site that's designed specifically for teachers, and it's one of the things that my team at PBS manages. And so the first thing I'm going to show you, since George and the dinosaurs are not cooperating, we put together a STEM education resource center that sort of is for educators the best of some of our STEM content related things. But what I really want to show you is this video, and it better play. Nova Science Now has created a new series that is web only, and it's called The Secret Lives of Scientists. And they're fabulous shorts. And this is one of the reasons I work for PBS, because this is what we hope will happen if
Funding for the Secret Life of Scientists is
students are
provided by the
inspired
Alfred
by some of the
Sloan
things that
Foundation.
we offer them. I'll try to make this full screen. Oh, but of course not.
My first experience with the path of being a scientist was this Minorities Introduction to Technology and Engineering program at Purdue University. And I was an 8th grade student. I had no idea what a chemist was, or what a physicist, even what an engineer was. I remember thinking I wanted to be a bus driver because I saw the bus guy and I was like, well, you know, I could do that job. And so this program kind of introduced me to what a different life would be. And we got to go to the summer camp program. There was this bridge building contest in the Balsa Wood, of course. I really wanted to win that, and I realized that some of the other kids were happy to be there, but they also wanted to go out and play, and all I had to do in order to beat them was just to work a little bit harder. And so I stayed in and built my bridge a little bit more, and it paid off in the end. I was the #1 bridge building contest winner that year. They gave me a little calculator as a prize. And then all the other kids started calling me professor. I don't think I've been given any special gift for any type of math, any type of science. In order to get through school, I worked a lot harder than everybody else. If you want it bad enough, and if you try hard enough, and you go in after class, and if you ask the teacher, and if you read the book, and if you read another book, and if you go to the librarian and ask for another book, then you can eventually understand whatever it is you're trying to understand. And that's the only way I became a professor. Because I've been given so many opportunities by affirmative action programs, by minority fellowships, a lot of what I do is a lot of outreach and a lot of give back to the community. We had this National Society of Black Engineers on Saturdays. We would have a tutoring session on every Saturday. I took over the program because it was kind of flailing for a little while, and we really built it back up. We went up to Harlem, we set up tables and got the word out to communities. I set posters out, and we really built our base to the point where I could start inviting in people to speak. And then our final lecture for that year was Horst Stormer, who had just won the Nobel Prize at Columbia. They didn't really know what the Nobel Prize was, and then somebody asked him how it felt to win the Nobel Prize. And he goes into his pocket and he pulls out the Nobel Prize. All these kids got to actually see a Nobel Prize, got to see a Nobel Prize winner, got to take their picture with a Nobel Prize, and got to understand that, science isn't something that just a few elite people, but it's the guy down the street. And takes a Saturday, takes 4 hours on a Saturday to talk to you. I think anyone who wants to be a scientist can be a scientist.
No. Working too well now.
I've always been fascinated with the camera and with how it stops time, essentially. But I started getting more and more in.
So that's what we're hoping for, that we're able to provide audiences, young audiences, with content that inspires them to try as hard as this young scientist did to become that. Or if they're not going to become scientists, they become better consumers of science. So many of our decisions that we make day to day now are really dependent on, making good decisions is dependent on having a good understanding behind the science of the everyday things, and as well as the huge things that are affecting our lives. So we hope that when people come to us, they find something that will inspire them or clarify a concept for them. So I'm going to keep working backward from adulthood, and I hope then by the time we get back to the kids, those videos will play. So let's go meet with Neil a little bit. Here's a segment sometimes called Don't Ask the Expert. And this, I just mainly chose this so you'd laugh a little bit.
And now for our regular segment, Don't Ask the Expert. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson said, whatever you do, please do not ask me about Hollywood space aliens. But we did. Hollywood, don't get me started. Every time they put out an alien, it's for all intents and purposes identically human. If you were a jellyfish and saw the Hollywood aliens, you said they looked exactly like human beings. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, a neck. Maybe they give it 3 eyes instead of 2, or antennae. And they always have a face, which is a very vertebrate kind of thing to have. So many other life forms on our planet, with whom we have DNA in common, do not have faces. Trees don't have faces. Worms don't have faces. Jellyfish don't have faces. The list is long. You could draw from our own planet, finding creatures that look so unlike us that you'll do better tapping them as alien life forms than anything Hollywood comes up with in all of their movies. And I'm very disappointed. You know what the best Hollywood alien movie has been, in my list? The Blob. Beware of the Blob. The old Steve McQueen movie from the 50s. The Blob. That didn't have a face, did it? And it was just this creature. No, you didn't know what made it work. But it loved your blood. Even though it was a B movie, they did well.
So we enjoy working with Neil deGrasse Tyson a lot. And there's some, in the next season, some really interesting things coming up on that. I'm not showing much from Nova this evening, but I did want to tell you that at an event last week, I saw what will be one of their first episodes in the new and improved Nova. They've been working for a long time with us to sort of lose the voice of God or voice of doom, whichever suit your fancy narrator style and make it a little more lively, but perhaps more appealing to a younger audience than usually tunes into Nova. And one of the episodes is on, I'm glad I don't have it to show you because it's not really pre-dinner fodder, but it's about cloning body parts, and it is fascinating. It's really going to be exciting. So we're looking forward to that. I'm going to... One of the things that I think we do well is take people to places that they usually can't go, and get them, at eye level with frogs, with cheetahs, with, whatever is or is not in their own backyard. So I just want to show you a segment from this that I think is just fascinatingly beautiful and really, really interesting. And you, if you get interested, you can watch it all here in 7 episodes. Try this one. Can everyone hear okay?
Have managed to navigate life on Earth for more than 250 million years. They were the first of our ancestors to venture from the water to the world beyond. But their fish-like beginnings haven't hindered their progress on Earth. They've evolved into an explosion of species, each one unique. These diminutive time travelers survived the dinosaurs, asteroids, and ice ages, adapting in ways that boggle the mind. Some are masters of camouflage, while others avoid predators by carrying poisons in their skin. Their survival tactics have splintered them into thousands of species, scattered on almost every corner of the Earth. Whether salamander, frog, or toad, amphibians are some of the most diverse and far-flung animals on the planet. But they're disappearing, and experts are worried. Frogs are considered bellwethers for the environment. Their double life makes them unique. It's through their skin that they breathe and drink. Because their skin is so permeable, they're especially sensitive to changes in the environment. Today, more than a third of amphibians are in decline. From Australia to South America, frogs are disappearing. Why are species that have survived for eons suddenly collapsing? Scientists are searching for clues before the next species slips away. Frogs can be secretive. To find answers, one must probe the shadows.
And it goes on, but I particularly think this one is really beautifully shot and well presented. And it also suggests why about 20%, 28% of our visitors to PBS Online are educators, and a huge number of the visitors in general are people like me looking for, maybe they saw a news article about, the issue with frogs and wanted to know more, might have done a Google search on frogs, and a lot of the time they're going to land here. It's college students doing research. It's high school students doing reports. Believe me, I get email from them. They want me to do their homework for them. And it's people like you and I who just want to know more. So now that you'll know, I was poised, for instance, to say that, you know, frogs are secretive, to move from there in my original presentation lineup to the secret lives of scientists. All right, I want to know how many of you could sum up your careers, the work you do, in 30 seconds. All right. Oh, I have a video for you if you want to do it. 30 seconds. Somebody time him.
Sum up my entire career or my research?
Your
now?
research. What you're doing now. Your job now.
Oh, sure. I studied the evolution of sexual selection in frogs. So I'm looking at how female mate choice drives the evolution of diverse traits, and I use frogs as a model system to do this.
Well done. All right. For some reason, you want Hitler's Lost Sub or Sinking the Super Ship.
Hitler's Lost Sub.
All right.
Or if you want influenza, I'll trade you.
I know, PBS brings cheer and joy, doesn't it? And it's so funny, I stopped this video, the frog video, just before they got to the frog love scene. Yeah, it was really cool. There was this little tiny transparent frog, so their skin's so thin you can see her eggs through the skin. But you'll have to visit yourself. So I want to this is a leech scientist, and I want to show you his 30-second science.
I am a curator at the Museum of Natural History. Museums of Natural History are like libraries of biodiversity, and libraries without books are useless. I run around and find the books, in this case species of leeches, find out where they are, where they live, how they're related to each other, and once we figure out how they're related to each other, try to find out something interesting about that. For example, with the leeches, how did they evolve? What does that mean in terms of the evolution of blood feeding? What does it mean in terms of the movement of continents around the globe? Is that 30 seconds? I need a clock.
These are a lot of fun to watch, and there's a huge variety of them. And this one that is featured is a teen astronomer, the youngest person to have ever discovered a nova, I believe. And so all of these, they not only talk about what they're doing as scientists, but what they do as in other parts of their life as well. And who knows, contact the producer, it could be you. Okay, next up. I mentioned that a lot of our visitors are doing research. And actually, I brought this, I chose this clip. This is a program that aired ages and ages ago. You know, it doesn't have as much jazzy video as some of our sites do now. You can see it's pretty text heavy. But stem cell research, of course, continues to be controversial. And if you're a citizen of the world needing to know about that, you can read that. You can also watch this little video.
Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jack Kessler.
So I'm actually going to talk over this one. It's a session from a conference. Who else but PBS would ever put video on? It's a session from a conference. But if you watch the video long enough, they explain exactly what stem cells are and how they work and why they're important for research. So again, if you're a lay person, not a scientist, this is a way to help you understand more about what is behind that controversy and understand it from a scientific perspective, not so much an emotional one. I love that. And every time I put together one of these presentations, I find hundreds of additional resources that I keep thinking, oh, I need to know that. I need to go back and find that. I need to know that. Or I've been working on this stuff for 5 years now, and I never knew this was there. So it's an amazing place to explore. This one. We also deal with, particularly frontline producers, with very current and large and difficult topics. This is one that aired in the fall of 2008, and is really a fabulous and well-balanced view of global warming issues. Again, most of it is it's online. I want to show you a segment from this one that I found fascinating.
Before the dawning of the industrial age, the level of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere had remained relatively steady for hundreds of thousands of years. But as people began to burn fossil fuels, oil, coal, and natural gas on a large scale, CO2 levels began to climb. By the mid-50s, scientists had begun to wonder if there might be a consequence. This episode of the popular TV show, the Bell Telephone Science Series, aired in 1958.
Even now, man may be unwittingly changing the world's climate through the waste products of his civilization. Due to our release through factories and automobiles every year of more than 6 billion tons of carbon dioxide, which helps air absorb heat from the sun, our atmosphere seems to be getting warmer. This is bad. Well, it's been calculated a few degrees rise in the Earth's temperature would melt the polar ice caps. And as this happens, an inland sea would fill a good portion of the Mississippi Valley. Tourists and glass-bottom boats.
But at the time, no one paid much attention to such theories. And in the U.S., industrial growth and human consumption accelerated through the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
So many of you who may be working on some of these issues may have been aware that scientists have been trying to alert us since the 50s about this, but I had no idea until I happened across this video. I think that we're fortunate that our filmmakers often dive way back into archives to create their documentaries that are dealing with today's issues as well as past issues, so that we can continue to learn from that archival information and then to go, what were we thinking? Frontline deals frequently with issues like this, and if you haven't seen Heat and that's an issue that interests you, I'd encourage you to look at it. All right, I'm going to try the kids again. Yes, the noise is working. So Cyberchase is a project from WGBH. There's an animated television show, and there is an amazingly complex and in-depth website. A couple of years ago, they created the Quest, and as you can see, it has many parts. Kids are online working through the Quest and learning about science and physics and math primarily for 90 minutes at a time, which is eons in web time. And I can't play this, so but you might give it a try. And you know, there's a quest, there's a problem to be solved in each of these games, and working successfully through the game will help you solve the problem. Almost all of our kids' programs have some sort of live action segment, as well as the animated show. So I want to show you a little piece of live action from Cyberchase.
Cyberchase, we're moving, we're beating hacker at his game. Don't tell me that he's trying to hack the motherboard, you'll get him every time. Perfect world, risky places that we see. We got the power of 1, 2, 3, 4. Running in the Cyberchase, unique and face to face. We'll stick together all the time. Adventures in cyberspace, the chase is on the screen. CYBERchase.
Now I'll go ahead and show you this clip.
Toriel needs a tweak. Get out of my garage, hacker.
You mean my garage?
Yeah, his garage. It belongs to the boss. Almost. What are you talking about?
Before your father pulled his little disappearing act, he and I were, shall I say, business partners.
You and my father partners? No way. Oh, it's true. Back when they both worked for Motherboard, they were real palsy-walsy. Yeah, like 2 bugs in a rug. This bug was the boss. Of course, the bug, the boss was a good guy back then.
Takes him a while to get to the math problem, but you'll get the idea. Let's see. Sorry, I'll stay away from that side of the screen. All right, I lost my link to the live action portion I wanted to see. But he's pretty brilliant, the guy is, and he just will do. He's funny. He's kind of you know, his hair is all askew, and he's very silly, and he can juggle and do all kinds of things. But ultimately, the live action segment will show kids how to solve a problem, and which we like a lot. Oh, wait a minute, it's here. Sorry. This will make you laugh too. Yes.
Get ready for Cyberchase.
Today's my first day working as a substitute teacher. I'm a little nervous.
This is
What if
Harry.
things go wild? I won't know how to handle them.
You're fired.
class. My name is Mr. Wilson.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Why, thank you.
Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, I can ride a unicycle. And I can juggle.
Show us.
Okay, we need to make some room. Now we need to set up the room so you can take a quiz. Please arrange the desks in rows that have equal numbers of desks in each row. Okay, what's one possibility for arranging these 24 desks?
One row of 24.